Welcome to Trail Tales ARP. Sean Sobon, your host, is back behind the microphone. I'm so happy to be here. Russell, thank you for carrying the show on your shoulders for the past year. Without you, we really wouldn't be here. I want to wish you the best of luck in your journey for 2025, and I look forward to having you back on the show to chatting about what you're up to and give our audience an update. My next guest is a pretty remarkable young man and somebody I wanted to have on the show for quite some time. I'm glad that I had the opportunity to interview him. He is known as Henry the Hiker. He's got quite a remarkable story that started back in 2020 during the pandemic years. His family happens to live on a farm that the Bruce Trail kind of goes through. So they started having some forest adventures with his mom primarily, and Henry learned all about the forest and started hiking during the pandemic lockdowns. He spent a lot of time on YouTube and decided that he wanted to be a YouTuber. So with the support of his mother and direction of his mom, he started a YouTube channel. And that's how Henry the Hiker was born. We're going to put links into all his social media so you can follow his adventures, past, present, and future. Henry is 12 years old, and he has seen more of the country than I have in my 43 years. It really is quite remarkable. I'm looking forward to kind of hearing from him about what some of the most remarkable and memorable moments were during his adventures. He's been all across Canada and continues to set challenges and goals for himself. He's actually completed over 500 kilometers of the Bruce Trail system here in Ontario, which is over a 900-kilometer trail that connects Tobermory all the way to Niagara Falls, and it is Canada's longest footpath. One of Henry's goals coming up are to travel the Camino Frances, which is an 800-kilometer long trek from the south of France across the Pyrenees, west across northern Spain and Santiago, near the Atlantic Ocean. And he wants to do this. He was inspired to actually want to do this after watching a movie called The Way, in which a father had lost his son, and during his grieving, he ended up walking the trail that his son was following. So this is a meaningful trip for Henry because he had some rough time and dealt with some bullying in school, and lost his Oma, who he was very close to and lived with for a majority of his life. So Henry is a great kid with a big heart. He's got a lot of experience. If you happen to ever see Henry out on the Bruce Trail, you might not be surprised when he hands you some maple seeds to plant some trees. Very good at meeting people and conserving our wilderness and learning about it. So, with further ado, we're going to get into the interview with Henry. Hope you enjoy.
Welcome to Trail Tales ARP
a running podcast for every type of runner.
with Sean Sobon and Russell the Runner.
Run wild.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want, and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything.
Henry the Hiker, how are you doing today?
All right, I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing good. Thanks so much. So, Henry, for our audience, why don't you just tell us really briefly a little bit about yourself, how old you are, and how you started getting the name Henry the Hiker, how you came up with that?
So I am right now 11, and I kind of started Henry the Hiker and got that name from hiking the Bruce Trail, because we have the Bruce Trail on our property. So we were just, while COVID was going around, we would just hike around there.
And
And then I thought,
is that how you started kind of loving hiking was just kind of exploring really your own backyard, which is part of the Bruce Trail?
Yeah.
And how old were you
Yeah.
when you started that? I guess that was around 2020. So you would have been what, around 7 years old at the time?
Yes.
Okay, that's
I
cool.
was 7.
Awesome. So, Henry, you're only 11 years old. I'm here talking to, I'm 43 years old, and you've done more of the Bruce Trail than I have. You've seen more of the country than I have, and I'd argue you've seen more of the country than a lot of people listening to us right now have been able to see. And I want to applaud you for, you know, um, surpassing the halfway mark, or you're over the halfway mark of completing the entire Bruce Trail system. So you've done over 500 kilometers of the Bruce Trail system. Now, have all of those kilometers and hikes been done with your mom, or do you have other family members that you hike with as well?
Well, I've always hiked with my mom, but sometimes we have other people that hike with us, like maybe some close family or friends or something like that.
Oh, that's awesome. The more the merrier, right?
Yeah.
So you are over the halfway mark. When you look back on all of those kilometers that you've covered on the Bruce Trail, is there a particular section or a particular hike that stands out in your mind when you think about doing all of those hikes? Is there one that you just think, wow, I really remember that one? And why do you remember it?
Well, there's not one, there's two.
Okay, I'd love to hear about this.
There's my first one in Dufferin Highland, my first 100 kilometers. A porcupine met me.
No way.
Yeah, I saw it climb up a tree and then it literally pooed off the tree. Like,
And you got to see that.
yeah, it was honestly one of my favorite moments, and even though it was a long time ago, I still remember it like it was yesterday.
Oh, I can see why. It's not every day that you see a porcupine, and then it's even more rare, I would say, that you see a porcupine climb a tree and then poop off of it as well. When you saw the porcupine, were you surprised at its size?
Well, it had a decent size. Like, I didn't really see it so much. I only saw it kind of from a distance, even though it kind of did walk past our path.
Okay. Now, I've heard that porcupines like to eat the bark off of trees. Is that something you've heard of as well?
Yes, actually, I heard about that at that hike, actually. My mom
Interesting.
told me that.
Okay. And I'm curious, at that hike, did you happen to notice if any trees were missing their bark?
Give me a sec, I'm thinking.
Yeah,
I
sure.
gotta relive the memory. Yes, it did.
Cool.
There
Cool.
are a lot that had not a lot of bark.
That's interesting. I've been to I guess it's part of the Bruce Trail, might be a side trail. I'm sure you're familiar with the Split Rock Narrows.
Yes,
Yeah, have you been
I
out?
do remember that.
Yeah, I've been out there a few times and I haven't seen any porcupines out there, but I have seen a lot of trees with missing bark. So I wonder if it's the porcupines that are the culprits there. So that's an interesting first memory from the Bruce Trail, and seeing a porcupine out there. Tell us about your second hike that stands out in your mind.
So this was a little more random. This is when I met a bull in the Caledon Hills section of the Bruce Trail.
Like a bull, like a bovine bull? Like
Yes.
really? Tell us more about that.
So like it was at the bottom of the hill and there was like a fence that was broken down. So I'm assuming that it knocked down the fence.
Okay. And
So we
how,
were going down a hill. So we were going down a hill to go back up a hill. And I was just talking and looking down of where my feet were. And then my mom just stopped and I noticed a sudden change in tone and I looked up and there I see just there, just like minding its own business.
just this big old bull just standing
I
there?
kind of panicked.
No kidding. That's not something you'd
Yeah,
expect to see out
proud
on the
as it
Bruce Trail.
is.
You wouldn't expect to see a bull out on the Bruce Trail, would you?
Nah, you don't. You don't really. It scared the ever living crap out of me.
No kidding. Let me ask you, so what did you guys do once you saw the bull? Did you turn around and hightail it out of there, or did you find an alternate path?
We went around the bull, like still close to the bull, but around the bull.
Gotcha. And I'm assuming he didn't spook or didn't threaten you guys in any way. You didn't get charged.
Well, no, he didn't charge, but he nodded at me, scared the crap out of me.
No kidding. Oh man. So those are some pretty interesting memories, and I like that they both involved kind of unexpectedly coming across wildlife. And I think that's one of the greatest things that you can get from being out on the trails, whether you're running or hiking, is the wildlife that you may happen to come across. And the more time you spend out there, the more chances there are of seeing something. And the cool thing about it, Henry, if you agree, is it can happen at any given moment. You can't really predict when it's going to happen, but when it does, it's kind of a pretty surreal or magical moment, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it is. And I find like it makes you think that there's somebody watching over you and just giving you these amazing moments.
I really like that. Yeah, it's a magical moment when it happens like that, and I've experienced some pretty interesting wildlife stories out on the trails myself. So I was reading kind of the bio that your mom had sent me before we had the chance to sit down and talk, and I read that you hand out maple seeds to other hikers who meet along the Bruce Trail. I was interested to know how you came up with this idea.
Well, so when I was hiking, I wanted something that would kind of stretch my name a little bit more so they wouldn't all just come across me while I'm hiking and be like, oh, this is just a kid hiking. We wanted something that would be free, and we wanted something that would be very, very Canadian. So first off, I thought of beavers. I wanted to sell some beavers,
I guess that's a
which
little bit
my
harder than
mom
maple
quickly
seed.
said no to. Yeah.
That's interesting. So you wanted
And
people to
then,
remember you on the trail.
yeah. So we came up with the idea of maple seeds. A lot
Awesome.
less sentient, but still something.
Absolutely. Yeah, and the nice thing about maple seeds, if they plant them, they can plant a tree somewhere else, right? And we need lots of trees, so I like it. Um,
Yeah.
so you said you wanted to have something distinctly Canadian, and I think, yeah, I agree. Maple syrup comes from maple trees, and maple trees are very Canadian, and we have a maple leaf on our flag, so you can't really get more Canadian than that. But I wanted to ask, have you met a lot of people from other parts of the world on the Bruce Trail? Is it common to see people visiting and hiking the Bruce Trail?
So we don't really come across anybody on the trail, but we have helpers stay at the farm that we have, and they always want to have at least one hike with us, so we've hiked with them. We've had some from Germany, France, Austria, New Zealand, England, like a lot. All of those people.
Oh, that's interesting. That's pretty cool. So you get to show them a piece of Canada.
Yeah, may
Yeah,
not be a big piece, but it's still a piece.
still a pretty cool piece. Now, when you take guests out onto the Bruce Trail, do you take them to a specific area or do you just go wherever you feel like going that day?
We kind of go wherever we feel like, wherever the flow goes.
I like it. Nice and easy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I also understand that you can get badges for completing certain section of the Bruce Trail. Um, and I know that you've been kind of pursuing these badges. So to date, how many badges have you collected?
So I have a lot of badges, but but only 5 section badges. Let me show you some. So Just there we go. I have the crap. What is this one called? The I can't read these. I'm
Okay.
end to end for the Blue Mountains. Blue Mountains,
Oh, the Blue Mountain. Okay. That was the
and
first
we
first
have
section you guys did together, isn't it?
yes.
Cool.
We also have Beaver Valley end to end and Dufferin end to end.
The Dufferin Highland one. Okay. Which one from your memory is the most hilly section?
Caledon Hills. This one right here, Caledon Hills.
And okay. Do you remember how long that section is in the Caledon Hills?
Around 100 kilometers,
Somewhere around there.
around that.
Yeah. And it's pretty hilly, eh?
And I have so many more badges. Like I have like 12 in total, I think. Like
Oh wow, okay. So you said you have
Toronto
badges, you have a bunch of badges and some of them are for sections. So how do you earn the other badges that aren't for completing a section?
Well, I don't know how you usually get this one. I got this handed out to me by somebody who works for the Bruce Trail. Hike it, love it, keep it clean. Very wholesome, very nice. And then we get like if you work in a club or have participated in the club like the Dufferin Highland Bruce Trail Club. All of those. And then you have some that aren't even associated with the Bruce Trail, like the Frontenac Park one that we got. And the Grasslands National Park. Like there's a lot.
Nice, nice. Now, out of all the badges you have, do you have a favorite one?
Whoo, my
That's a
favorite
tough
one's
one.
probably I hiked Frontenac Park. Oh, yeah, and these are what the tree seeds look like.
Oh, okay, so you have them in little envelopes. Cool.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the Frontenac Park hike that you did.
So I've got so it was a 5 day 4 night backing drip with tents, all of that stuff. On the first night it rained quite heavily. And I almost passed out because there's way too much stuff. So when we got to the next hike, we burned half our stuff. Like just had a big bonfire. It was crazy. And I couldn't sleep, so my mom helped me with a sleeping pill. So I slept so well that night. Mom did not. And then on the third night, we were supposed to have neighbors to kayak that we kayaked right next to. But they never showed up, so don't know what happened there. And then the fourth night, we wanted to go swimming, so I went swimming. And that's when the most scariest part happened.
What was
a
that?
a water snake came up right beside me. It was yellow. It was poisonous. It's scary.
Oh my gosh. Out of all the creatures that are on this earth, I don't like snakes at all. So I would have been terrified if that happened to me. Let me tell you.
Yeah. Like the exact sequences of events, I was just screaming around water. My mom's like, Henry, don't move. And I'm like, what? She's like, just don't move. And I look to my side and I see it just slithering past my leg. And I'm like, ah. Later, my mom said, it was more scared of you than it was of it, than you were of it. And I'm like, no, No, I was horrified. That thing did not have a care in the world. That, whoo.
Yeah,
Even just thinking about it gives my heart rate going up.
that's scary, and it's funny too, when I'm out on the trails too, you kind of every once in a while you see a snake just kind of sunbathing there and makes you jump. Every once in a while too, I see a stick that reminds me of a snake and it gives me the heebie-jeebies. So I'm with you on that one, man. I don't like snakes. So I want to talk a little bit now about your trip. You did a big trip with your mom when you guys went all the way over to Alberta. And I guess on your way over, you stopped at a bunch of places in Ontario. So, and you got to see a whole bunch of different sites. Out of all the amazing places that you stopped, was there something that really sticks out in your mind that you remember the most?
Well, we have a couple here that I have made sure not to forget. So we have the West Edmonton Mall, which holy crap, so much bigger than you expect. Um a dinosaur provincial park, giant dinosaur. We weren't able to go inside it. It was closed. Where we did find cactuses in Canada. Who would have known?
Those were out in Alberta, the cactuses or cacti?
Yeah,
Wow, I didn't know we had
cacti.
those. I didn't know we had those in Canada. I thought they were just kind of in the desert in the warmer areas.
Yeah,
Pretty cool.
yeah, it's crazy. And then we have the Grasslands National Park, like I showed you the badge for that I had. Oh wait, that was in Saskatchewan, my bad. And then we gone to a polar bear sanctuary where we went where we met Henry the polar bear, born 1 month before me.
That's a happy coincidence to meet a polar bear with your name, eh?
Yeah.
Who was
Fun
bigger, you or the
fact,
polar bear?
the polar bear, the
I
polar bear.
bet. I bet.
Fun fact, polar bears love watermelon. Watermelon is like their favorite thing.
Wow, I never would have guessed that.
Hmm.
That's interesting. Did you get to see a polar bear eat a watermelon?
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, it's so cool. I even got some polar bear hair. Probably one of the few who lived to tell the tale.
Oh man, how did you get the polar bear hair? I want to hear that one.
I got it. Like somebody gifted it to me.
Okay, that's probably the
I
safest
can
way to get it,
have somebody else risk their lives.
Yeah, I thought maybe you say, "Oh, I was hugging the polar bear and I pulled a chunk out and ran away and survived."
That would have been really cool. That would have.
I might not have been talking to you today if that happened though, eh? I hear polar bears are
Hmm.
pretty fast too.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool, man. And so when you did that trip to Alberta, did you guys drive or did you fly? How did you move around?
We drived all the way and then we drive back.
Oh wow, that's a long time in the car, eh?
Yeah, luckily I brought a portable DVD player for like all the blank bits that really weren't exciting. And I brought one movie that is now implanted in my head forever.
Which movie's that?
It was Turning Red, one of those movies.
Oh, okay, I think I know which one you're talking about. It's the animated movie with the panda bear. Is that the
Yeah,
one? Oh yeah, I know the movie. Okay, pretty cool. Um,
implanted in my
so
head.
driving all that way across the country or halfway across the country is a really neat way to see our country, and it's a really neat way to appreciate how big and vast Canada actually is. Were you surprised at how much there was to our country and the provinces that you went across?
I forgot Canada was so big. I was shocked how much there was.
Oh, I bet. So you also went to British Columbia. Now, when you guys did your trip to BC, did you fly out there, or was that also another big long drive?
Um, I flew.
You flew. That's a little bit faster, eh?
Yeah, just a
So
bit.
yeah. So you did a lot of things in British Columbia. Mountains, orca whales, all these things. So what were some of your favorite parts of visiting BC?
Tin Hat Mountain. Whoo! I hiked up a mountain. Most craziest thing I've ever done.
Do you remember how tall the mountain was or how high it was?
No idea. No idea at all.
How long did it
All
take you
I
to get
know,
to the top? Do you remember that?
well, we had a deadline for a day, so it was an entire day.
Okay. I bet your legs were really tired when you got to the top, eh?
Yeah, I almost slipped and fell off the mountain though.
Oh my goodness. Thankfully you didn't. So
Thankfully.
if you can think back to to the moment you got to the top of the mountain, what was that experience like for you? Like what could you see? Did it smell different up there at the top? What were the sounds like? Like take us there with you in your mind.
Well, the air. Well, let's say so. There's this little spot that you have to climb up to get to the top. Once you get to the top, the air is thinner. It's harder to breathe, but you get used to it. And your mind is blown away by the view. Oh, my gosh, the view. It was, it's like you could see to the end of the world. It was crazy.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So you have some social media accounts. Would you have pictures of these types of trips on your social medias for other people to see?
Yes.
Okay,
So I
cool.
have Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. Any of those?
All right, I'll make sure to put links in our show notes for everybody who's listening. If they want to actually see some pictures of your adventures, they can do that, which would be pretty cool. So, all right, so that was called, what was the name of the mountain again? Was it Tin Hat?
Tin Hat
Tin Hat Mountain.
Mountain.
Okay. All right. So that was one pretty cool memory from BC. Tell me about some more of the things that you did over while you were in British Columbia.
I went kayaking. Was that where we found the jellyfish? And we went to kayak. We we kayaked a bit there, but we went and kayaked one time. We found jellyfish,
Oh wow.
like, and the best financial choice of our life right there was proved. She bought one of those phone cases, so if you accidentally drop your phone in the water or whatever, it will stay intact. She put it under the water and took a picture. It was wow. I got
Was
a hold of jellyfish too.
Oh my goodness. Was the water pretty clear? You got a good picture of it?
Yeah, yeah. There were thousands of jellyfishes
Oh my
just
goodness.
underneath us too,
Wow.
not caring that we were there.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And did you get to see any whales while
The
you were
earth
out
has
there?
amazing creatures on it.
It does.
Yes, we did.
Tell me about the
We
whales.
went to uh we went to one of those boating places where we go to try to find whales, and we weren't expecting to find much, but we found a lot actually. We found humpback whales and around 200 of them.
That is a huge
We also found
community.
an endangered species of whales. I don't remember what species they were, but it was an endangered species, so that was pretty cool.
Oh wow, that sounds pretty cool, man. That's pretty wild. I've never seen a whale in real life, so there's another thing you've got to experience, man. 11 years, you've experienced so much already. It's pretty cool. And at 11 years old, you keep making goals for yourself, and like your mom had told me, you have a a little bit of a restless soul and you like to keep doing things and challenging yourself. So tell us about your latest project, and I'd like to know what inspired it. Because I hear you have a
So
pretty
the
cool one
latest
coming up.
project, yeah, our latest project is the Camino. Woo, Camino de Santiago. It was inspired by when we did go to BC and all of those places. I realized not just in Toronto is beautiful, not just in Canada. So I went and gone to see the Camino. Before before I went to decide the Camino, I thought of the Appalachian Trail. 3,000 kilometers. One go. My mom said, nah, no. She was like, no, I am not doing that. Maybe you can do it with like one of your friends or something, but nah. So she suggested the Camino and showed me the movie The Way, which is a movie about the Camino.
Okay.
And the movie was so great. I loved it. It was beautiful. Like all of that stuff. Like, so I was like, okay, we are doing the Camino. We're doing all 800 kilometers of Camino.
That's a big trail.
Yeah. Honestly, I am very scared. I'm very scared about it, to be honest.
So when you saw the movie The Way, that kind of inspired you to kind of want to go to do the Camino. So what kind of things are you doing to prepare for this adventure, and what kind of challenges are you facing right now, if any?
So, what we're doing is we're going to trainer games 3 times a week, 2 times with a personal trainer, 1 time with a boxing trainer. They show no mercy, so I've been exhausted every single day.
So you're going to Trainer Games. For those who don't know, it's a local gym we have in our town here, and you're using that to kind of get ready for the physicality of the Camino. Is that the plan?
Yeah, yeah. That is the plan. That is the plan.
Awesome. So you're doing that, and when are you planning on going on this adventure of yours to Camino?
April 6th.
Okay, so that's coming up
That's
soon. That
yes, very soon.
that is coming up pretty soon. So I understand you guys might be doing a little bit of fundraising to help get you there. Is there a way that people who are listening might be able to help contribute to your adventure?
Yeah. So to do that, we have a website now. Yippee, a working website. That if you buy our stuff, it will all go to the Camino. Every single cent, every single dollar, all of that.
Awesome. Do you know the website address off by hand?
Yes.
What is it?
HenryTheHiker.com.
HenryTheHiker.com. How fitting. That's pretty cool, man. Well, I'll put a link in the show notes as well. So for anybody who's listening who wishes to help support you on your adventure to do the Camino Trail, I think they'll be able to do that through the website, which is really cool. So Henry, we're getting near the end of our interview here, and I just want to ask you, if there's one thing you could share with people who haven't experienced the beauty of nature that you have, whether it's here in Ontario or anywhere else. You mentioned the Appalachian Trail, which is another beautiful trail system in the United States. What words would you say to encourage people to get out on the trails and to experience nature?
Well, I would encourage them to not do anything crazy, like maybe do like 5 kilometer hikes at first and kind of just be like, go wherever your soul takes you. Like,
I like it. That's some good advice. It's practical in not biting off more than you can chew at the beginning, especially if you don't usually go out and hike and physically exert yourself. So I think a 5 kilometer hike is a great place to start. And that little second bit of wisdom you shared, I think is great. Go where your soul takes you, right? You'll never know what you'll find. You might see a porcupine climbing up a tree. You might come across a cow unexpectedly in the woods. And who knows, you might even find Bigfoot.
Yes.
All right, Henry. Well, listen, it's been great chatting with you. I wish you all the best in your upcoming adventure and in your pursuit of conquering the Bruce Trail as well. You're over the halfway mark there. So you've got a lot on your plate, and you've done quite a bunch of wonderful things at the young age of 11. And I think it's going to be pretty great to see what you do in the future as well, Henry. So I appreciate you taking the time to meet me here. And I'm going to say, usually we end our show off and I tell our guests and our audience to run wild. But I think in your case, Henry, I'm going to say to you to hike wild.
I will make sure I do hike wild.
And that's a wrap on this episode of Trail Tales ARP, a running podcast from Sean Sobon and Russell the Runner. Thank you very much for listening. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at trail_tales_ARP. Check out our YouTube channel at Trail Tales ARP, and you can catch us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Please don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. Catch you next time. Run wild.
No, I'm never turning back. I won't stop, I'ma fight until there's nothing left. It's so wide, you're gonna be hurting bad, cause I've been to hell and back. You don't wanna make me mad, I stay strong, you will never see me crack. And if you get in my way, you gonna feel the wrath. Gotta say it to my face while he's looking back. Mirror breaks after math, when I